What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. In today's episode, we're going to talk about grow room essentials because I hear all of you and I see all of the comments and messages that you guys write in. And a lot of you have said, Luke, I'm new to this whole seed starting thing, but I'm also new to even having a grow room. And there's a lot of things that people say I need, but I don't know if I actually need. Can you break down some of the essentials to a grow room? So that's what we're going to do. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing you need, which is very obvious for a grow room, is grow lights. Now, a lot of people kind of get hung up on the idea of grow lights. The biggest thing that I can drive home is that you are going to need a grow light, so you do have to pick something, but there's a lot of options out there. And we've done lots of videos on grow lights as well, so if you want to learn a ton more, we have videos that go very in-depth with grow lights. But surface level here, you need a grow light. I prefer these kind of heftier, more kind of robust grow lights. These are an 8-bulb T5 setup here. They're 4 feet long, so they're going to cover a lot of area, but you don't have to go with this. This cost us about $120. The cost of grow lights has come down pretty significantly just because of technology coming up, getting with the times, and a lot of people are getting into the industry, so costs have come down quite a bit, which is nice for us growers that are kind of on a budget. So this ran us about 120 bucks. Which isn't bad. But again, these are compact fluorescents. Some people don't want to go with compact fluorescents and they want to go with LEDs. Well, you can do that. And how can you do that? Well, you can actually go out to the hardware store. You can buy a LED shop light, believe it or not, a 2-bulb LED shop light, and you can retrofit it for your grow room. And how did you do that? How can you do that? Well, just like this. So here's our 2-bulb T5 LED setup. It looks just like compact fluorescent, only these are plastic tubes because there's actually LEDs inside of here. And how do we do that? Well, they came with a very warm light. You don't want any warm light in a grow room because plants use blue light to grow, and a lot of warm light has reds and oranges in the light. So what we did was we took those very warm lights and we switched them out. We just bought 2 grow lights. They're LED tubes that just switch out. And so you just basically take the bulb and you literally just give it a rotate, just like that, and it pops right out. It's the equivalent of like a compact fluorescent, only the fact that it's plastic, because again, there's LEDs in here. And we just took them and we switched them out. So we went from what was a 4,000 Kelvin light, that's the color scale. 4,000 is quite warm. It's got a lot of red and orange in it. And we just switched it out with a 6,500 Kelvin light, which is going to give you more blue light. And so we literally spent 20 bucks on a kind of a shop light setup and about 10 bucks for the tubes. So like 30 bucks. And you got yourself an LED grow light. Now, is it going to be the strongest thing in the world? No. It's definitely not going to be the strongest thing in the world, and you're definitely going to have it much closer to your plants because it's only 2 bulbs and it's not nearly as powerful as 8, and it's not comparable. But will it grow your plants? Absolutely. So there's totally options that you can go with that are very budget conscious, slightly budget conscious, and you can spend if you want. Like if you don't have any budget at all, you can have a pretty amazing grow room, but you got to get some grow lights. So the second most important thing you're going to need, which in my opinion is a must-have for a grow room, is a fan. Now, anybody that's getting serious about growing seedlings and wants healthy seedlings should invest in a fan. Now, in the past, I've used oscillating fans. I've also used just a stationary fan like this, a little box fan. You need some type of fan. Now, what does a fan give you that is so important? Well, it's air circulation. Having good air circulation in a grow room is essential. And anybody that has grown any amount of plants in a grow room will tell you air circulation can make or break your seedlings for a few reasons. One, air circulation helps cut down on things like mold and mildew because anytime there's water sitting on a surface that doesn't dry out very fast, that water can lead to things like mold and mildew, which around your plants can be a death nail. You definitely don't want any type of water sitting around your plants for a long period of time, so it helps dry them out. it also helps to circulate the air so that it strengthens the seedlings. Obviously, we're indoors. There's no wind whatsoever. And if you take these seedlings that are not accustomed to any wind whatsoever and you move them outdoors, well, what's going to happen? The wind is going to just lay them over flat. And so by adding a fan, it doesn't have to be a super powerful fan, like don't put them in a wind tunnel, but they just need a gentle breeze to kind of move them back and forth to help strengthen their stems. That's going to make them stronger so they're more acclimated when they get outside. And then the third thing a fan does that I think is just, for me, it makes a huge difference, and it balances out temperature. See, these fans, these lights here, they don't have any heat sinks that have fans that kind of remove heat. These lights do get fairly warm. And what I notice is that with a fan, if I'm actually blowing it across the seedlings, I can keep the lights a little bit closer, which will make a huge difference with having healthier and stronger seedlings. But the problem is, without that fan, a lot of times that heat can warm up those seedlings and you end up kind of scorching or burning some of the leaves because they're so tender and the lights get so warm. I mean, these lights are on for 16 hours a day. I can feel the warmth. I can feel the warmth even right here, which is like 10 inches away. I can still feel, they're still pretty warm. They're not hot, like you're not gonna cook an egg on this, but you certainly would not wanna be a plant underneath these lights right now without a fan running. So I find a fan kind of helps to distribute some of that warmth and really kind of bring in some more cool air to help kind of keep the grow room a little more acclimated. All right, so the third most important thing you need in a grow room, and I know when I tell you this, you're gonna think to yourself, it cannot be that important, but I will explain to you why it is that important, and that is having plastic card tables. Now, the table that you use doesn't really matter, but when you actually start growing a lot of plants and you do this on a regular basis, having a plastic table that doesn't stain, doesn't absorb water, doesn't get mildewy, or it ripples, expands, and gets all nasty is going to be such a benefit to you. I can't tell you how many times I've been watering my seedlings and whoopsie, accidentally water the table. Well, if it would have been wood or laminate or have like a Vermica top on it, you are spelling a recipe for disaster because, to be honest, I spill water on my table probably like 2 or 3 times a week. And you do that all the time, it better be a table you never want to see again. And plastic is just so nice for that. Also, the really nice thing about plastic is the fact it's so easily cleanable, it's sanitary, it won't harbor things like mold and mildew if it gets wet for a long period of time. It is just, in my opinion, a grow room must-have. We get these card tables. We've got card tables upon card tables. We get them all the time. We get them from which is our local big box store. And these suckers are like, I think they're 6 feet long by 3 feet wide. So 18 square feet of growing space makes a massive difference in a grow room. Also, a teeny tiny little nice thing is the fact they're white. So they're gonna reflect light, and we talk about having reflectors in the grow room which can help bounce back some of this light onto your plants. So it's just a little side benefit, but I'm telling you, if you start any amount of seedlings and you do it on a regular basis, having a nice plastic card table makes a world of difference. And for me, it's essential. Okay, so the fourth thing you're gonna need, and again, this is just like a table where you're gonna say, I cannot see this being essential. But I'm telling you, if you're doing any amount of seedlings at all and you're gonna be serious about it, you absolutely have to get yourself some type of tray to hold soil. I cannot tell you how annoying it is to spill soil on the ground. And I'm doing hundreds of seedlings basically every single week. And when you're doing hundreds of seedlings and you're dropping soil on the ground every single time, it becomes very frustrating to have to pick up the trays, sweep it all up, then what do you do with it when it lands on the ground? Well, you really shouldn't be reusing it if it lands on the ground because there's lots of contamination and stuff on the ground. Things like mold and mildew is found on the ground, and you don't want to add that back to your plants. So then where does it go? It goes out to the garden. You waste some precious seed starting mix that costs a lot of money, and ultimately it just takes time and hassle. So what I like to do is I like to just get any type of tray, wash bin, You can get like little bus bins super inexpensively. Throw your soil in there, and then that way when you're adding soil to a container or you're adding it to a flat, it just ends up in the container rather than on the ground. And again, I say this from experience because I know that when I first started, I was like, well, I'll just wing it, whatever. And I found out really quickly how much more time I spent just cleaning up my mess, because ultimately a clean space is going to be a healthy space for your seedlings. And so I like to keep my space as clean and tidy as possible. And so having one of these is like an absolute positive must-have. All right, fifth grow room essential that again is just something I've learned from experience is having a close by water source. In this grow room here, we've got a hose quite literally right in our grow room. It's so nice being just a couple feet away, because I'll tell you, when I first started having a grow room, you can see videos where my grow room was attached to my bedroom, and the nearest water source was probably about 30, 40 feet away. And that might seem like a very trivial thing, but this is a watering can. I think everyone has seen one of these before, but these only hold about 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons of water, sometimes 2 gallons. And when you're watering your seedlings, there is nothing more frustrating and time consuming than carrying water back and forth and back and forth. And not to mention, carrying 1 gallon of water is like what? I think it's like 7.5 pounds or so-ish. So imagine carrying like 10 pounds of water back and forth and doing that all the time. It gets very annoying. Let alone if your water source is like downstairs, you have to walk all the way downstairs, fill up a water can, walk all the way back upstairs. Not great whatsoever. It just takes a lot of time. It is really tiring. It makes you really kind of jaded about having a grow room. It's like, oh, this thing is so much work. It's not fun at all. When I started adding a water source to my grow room, or more or less making my grow room a place that was near a water source, made all the difference. The old grow room we had at our old house had literally in our basement a spigot that was, you just turn it on, water came out. Right here, spigot comes on, water comes out. Amazing. Whether it's in your garage, near your kitchen, someplace that's going to be within like 5 to 10 feet of a water source makes so much difference. And again, this seems like a petty thing, but I'm telling you, if you do any scale whatsoever and you're not growing like 3 or 4 plants, if you're growing a couple dozen to a couple hundred plants, having a water source nearby to me is like a non-starter. If there's not a water source within 5 to 10 feet of where I'm growing my plants, I pick a new location, because I'm telling you, I had done it for so long. And on top of that too, one little side note, spilling water as you walk, not safe and not great for the floors. We lived in a super old English Tudor style home. My parents would have wrung my neck had they known how much water I spilt on the floor carrying it from the bathroom, which was like 30 feet away, over to my grow room. And that kind of ties into the very last thing that I thought I'd mention, which is location. Obviously, having a good location is really important to having a successful grow room. And in my opinion, it's a requirement, because there are a lot of people that they have a room that they think, I'll make this my grow room. And they don't put a whole ton of thought into it, but they have other locations that might be better. The thing is, if you don't like going to that location, if it's cold and drafty, if it is a pain to get to, like if you have to walk up 3 flights of stairs to get to it, or it's down in your basement and you find that you just hate taking the stairs. Like there's some people that just are not stair people, and you have stairs in your home, but you go down to your basement for like worst case scenario type of thing. If you don't like to do it, you're going to hate doing it on a daily basis, because taking care of these plants is a daily chore. It is a luxury to have a grow room. And it's one that if you don't maintain them, if you don't kind of check on them every day, see what they need, your plants are going to suffer. And ultimately, you're just going to waste a bunch of time and a bunch of money. So put your grow room in a place where you want to be, where you actually regularly frequent. Put it in a place that is close to water. Put it in a place that's going to be warm and inviting, not drafty and cold, because not only is that not going to be fun for you, it's not going to be fun for your plants. So it's all these things kind of being put together that are essential. I cannot stress this enough because I see way too many people say, I thought I really enjoyed the location of my grow room. Now I have it all established, but honestly, I never even use my grow room because I hate going there. And that might seem like such a first world problem, like how could you possibly be inconvenienced by walking down the stairs? But believe it or not, our human psychology is so strong that if you're just not a stair person, or you're someone that doesn't like being in the cold or whatever, if something dreads you and then you are forced to do it all the time, you won't just magically start liking it. You're gonna hate it even more. And then ultimately, the hatred of it is gonna outweigh the benefit of it, and you're just not gonna use it. And so I cannot stress this enough, because the lights cost money, your time is super important, your plants are really important to your garden. Start out right by just picking a good location. And that's really all the essentials to a grow room, in my opinion. Now, there's gonna be things that'll come up, like what about heat mats? What about humidity domes? We've done a whole video about that. I'll post it in the comments or the description box down below about kind of the reasons why a heat mat and humidity dome is not essential. And so, yeah, I didn't add those to this video. But if you did enjoy, make sure to throw a thumbs up there. Subscribe if you haven't already. We have so much more gardening content coming out, and I'm really excited to bring you guys along for this wonderful adventure that we're on. So, as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. Take care, guys.